Hey guys, welcome to a brand new video. Today we're taking a look at the new dev blog that just released on November 1st for the Wilderness Rejuvenation 2. Now there hasn't been any major changes to the Wilderness in quite a while now. Actually the last major change was back in March of 2014, so it was almost 3.5 years since any noteworthy changes came to the Wilderness. The main things they're going to be adding is a complete revamp of the Chaos Altar in the Wilderness. They're going to be adding Mage Arena 2, with its own new best-in-slot Mage Cape, as well as the Revenant Caves, I guess from RS2. So to start off, the Chaos Altar is getting changed. What we're talking about here is the Chaos Altar in level 38 Wilderness, as west of the Lava Maze. It's getting a huge buff. What is going to be changed is, to start off, there's actually going to be an NPC there that will unnote bones for you, which is huge, because theoretically, if no one was there to kill you, that would give you massive amounts of experience. On top of that, when you're using bones on the altar, there is a 50% chance for the bones to not be consumed. So this will actually cut the cost of prayer in half, assuming you're doing it here. Although it's a risk versus reward, of course. You're in the wilderness, people can kill you for your noted bones, which could be a huge amount of money you might have on you. Now the experience gained here would be the same as using it on a gilded altar with 2 lit burners on your house. And also similar to the house is the rate that you will use the bones on the altar, assuming you're letting it happen automatically. If you're using the bones manually, that's obviously up to you and how fast you can click. Now if you complete the Wilderness Diaries, you can actually save an additional 10% on your bones, so it's over half. That's cutting your prayer by 60%. So like I said, you'll be able to unnote bones with the NPC outside of the prayer altar. Normally it'll be 1300 GP for 26 bones, which is pretty much the maximum amount of bones you can have in your inventory, because you will need coins and the noted bones. However, if you finish the Wilderness Diaries, he will unnote them at no cost. So they're estimating the XP per hour will be about 270k. However, if you have completed the Wilderness Elite Diaries, the rate that you use the bones on the altar will actually be increased automatically. So your automatic usage of the bones will actually be quicker than what it would be without the diary. Quick enough to actually increase the experience rate to 360k an hour, which is by far going to be the most cost effective and probably the best prayer experience in the game. So the main caveat here is that it's in the wilderness, so how many bones will you bring to the prayer altar? It's a little bit of a tough call. There's 2 ways you could go about this. You could just bring minimal defensive gear and just bring a couple hundred bones and the cash stack to match it, and just hope you don't get killed, and maybe you could run away and survive. Or you bring a bunch of bones and a bunch of good gear. However, I believe it's in multi, so that might not be the best idea, because there will definitely be teams PKing here, because the potential reward for killing players here is huge. So I think most people are going to bring cost-effective defensive gear and medium, maybe 20 minutes worth of bones or something, and then they'll just teleport out, because it's not close, but it's not that far to come back here, honestly. You can teleport to the lava maze, probably run here in 45 seconds or something, so it's not super out of the way. I'm definitely excited for this to come out. However, I really don't think I'm going to be using it too much. It's too much work for extra prayer experience. Yes, you're going to get potentially an extra 80, 100k an hour, but it's way more stressful, and just doing it in Remington is way easier. The next big change is Mage Arena 2. So now for those who have done Mage Arena 1, you might realize that it's a very easy challenge. With 60 plus magic, you can do it easily in like half an hour. It's really not that big of a challenge. It's just a staple item that you get as soon as you can. However, Mage Arena 2 is going to be offering an upgrade to that cape, and apparently it's going to be fairly challenging to get it, and you can only get one of the cape once you completed a challenge. So if you lose it, you have to go do this all over again. So to start the mini quest, you will need to have completed Mage Arena 1 and unlocked all of the god spells. You will also need 75 magic to track down and defeat 3 new bosses found randomly within the wilderness. So the stats of the god cape I, is what it's being called now, is just 5 more magic attack than the original god cape. Originally it was going to be double, however it looks like they have reduced that a bit. I feel like magic attack damage isn't as impactful as other attack damage for other classes, so whatever, I don't know. I think it could have been 20, but 15's fine. Now, I know this is a work in progress for the cape, however, I'm not really sure how I feel about the design of it right now. All they did was actually reverse the colors, so it's not that different. I mean, you still want it to be simple, but it doesn't really look that great, I think, personally. So to get the cape, you will need to track down 3 new bosses in the wilderness, and they will be randomly located. So to actually track them down, you will receive a hot cold device Similar to one of a Master Clue, every time you use it, you will take damage, so you have to be very conservative with how you use it. Once you've found the location, the boss will spawn, but only you can attack it, even in a multi-combat area. If you take too long, it'll actually despawn, you'll have to go find it again. So they are saying that the boss will be difficult, and an interesting bit here is you said you may find yourself using some spells that are common in PvP combat. Maybe it's weak to ancient magics or something like that, or using bind spells are extremely effective on it, or I don't know. This kind of looks like a blue greater demon here, so I guess that's just a temporary boss model and subject to change, which I don't know, actually looks okay, I think. So once you've defeated the boss, it will drop a unique heart. Once you've collected all 3 of them, you can bring it back to Collodion, and he'll upgrade one of your capes for you. One other thing worth noting is the hearts are not bankable, so you have to do this all at once unless you want to carry it around with you for a long time, so you won't be able to bank them and keep them safe. And if you do die with the new Mage Cape, you will award the killer with a bit of gold, similar to normal untradeable items. Okay, and last up is the Revenant Caves. This is by far the biggest change coming to the wilderness. The new caves are going to be called the 4 and 3 or 4 and 3 dungeon. It's kind of just a mimic of the Revenant Caves that were in RS2, but they are going to be completely different. Now, one thing they mentioned at the beginning of the dev vlog, but I waited till now, is that they are not going to be adding in PvP weapons. Now, the main reason about this is just they're too hard to balance, and they don't have the dev time, or they just don't want to deal with it, trying to balance a whole new set of apparently tier 80 weapons. But instead they're going to be adding in the PvP armor, which is going to be brand new tier 80 armor. So the original Revenant Caves were added into the game when free trade and the wilderness was taken out of the game. They wanted to retain an element of risk when you went into the wilderness, and such they added in Revenants. You can kill these and basically get a chance of receiving unique items as well as just general cash. It was trying to mimic what a PKer might have on them, however it didn't really give the same thrill. However, actually adding in the caves as a separate thing is actually kind of cool, because it's not trying to replace something as big as the wilderness and as huge as PvP. It's just going to be an extra interesting cave where it's a very high risk, high reward scenario. They are saying that you can make upwards of 2 mil an hour here, which we'll have to see how that pans out. So you can see on this little map here, the Revenants are going to be up here. Now I'm assuming the cave entrance is at the bottom, so you actually have to journey into the cave to get to the Revenants. On top of that, there will be some basic Slayer monsters, including Greater Demons, Hellhounds, Green Dragons, Lesser Demons, Ankus, and Black Demons. But the Revenants are at the end here. Now you can see there's actually a bunch of agility shortcuts on the map, except for one which is at the very top, which you'll have to run all the way around here, down, and to the bottom. So if you actually have agility, that seems like it'll be extremely useful for the Revenant Caves. So there's going to be a bunch of different types of Revenants, all at different levels, and obviously the higher level Revenant you kill has a higher chance of dropping a unique item. However, the lower level ones will still have a very rare chance of dropping uniques. So I'm assuming they're going to put a ton of high tier items in the game on a very rare chance of getting them, maybe like an Abyssal Whip, Saradomin Godsword, or maybe it's just going to be really high level alcohols, or just really good drops that aren't actually just really high level unique items. I never actually really killed Revenants in RS2, RS3, whatever you want to call it, so I'm not really sure how they're going to interpret it for old school RuneScape. So the Revenant Caves are going to be only multi-combat except for 2 areas, one at the entrance, which I'm assuming is at the bottom, and one at the very top of the cave, which is going to be a single way. However, there's not really going to be any way out of there, so it's just kind of a temporary spot you may run to. However, I think to get out of the cave, you won't be able to teleport out, because that would be kind of dumb. One interesting thing is you will actually be able to place a cannon, so I'm assuming you'll be able to cannon the Revenants, which will actually be a pretty big bonus. Or if you're just there in a Wilderness Slayer task, or you're just killing green dragons in one of the most high-risk places in the game, I don't know. So on top of that, they will be adding new items into the game. There's going to be the whole PvP armor I'll leave just for a second, but one new item is going to be the Revenant Bracelet. It's a new bracelet which will only be effective in the Revenant Caves. It would offer no stats, but would be dropped by Revenants in the cave. The bracelet would be charged as a new consumable item, and once you've charged it, you'll find that Revenants will no longer be aggressive towards you. So this will be a huge benefit as you are in a multi-combat area. On top of that, you actually will not take damage from them. You'll be immune to their attacks. However, every attack will drain a charge from the bracelet, and you'll drain your bracelet relatively quickly, I'd imagine. Or you can also alch them for 45k. Now the Revenant Caves go from level 17 to 40 Wilderness. Now they're adding a teleport scroll that will teleport you to level 17 wilderness at the beginning of the Revenant Caves, and will probably be the only reasonably quick way to get there. The teleport scrolls will be dropped from Revenants, however they will be tradable. Another item they're thinking of adding is the Amulet of Peril, which is essentially a piece of the Durock's armor set, however it's not going to stack with it. What happens is the lower your HP is, the higher the strength the amulet will give you. At a base stat it'll give you about the same strength as the Amulet of Power, however once it's fully charged it'll be offering slightly more attack bonus than a Torture Amulet. Next up is the Revenant Vambraces. What these are going to be replacing are Barrow's Gloves in a Ranger scenario. They're going to have +2 extra ranged over the Barrow's Gloves, as well as a +2 range strength bonus, which the Barrow's Gloves do not have. Now to wear these you will need 40 defense and 70 range, which is a higher requirement than Barrow's Gloves. However, you do need defensive requirements to wear Barrow's Gloves, and there's a lengthy quest requirement to actually wear them, so I kind of feel like this should be almost higher. Interestingly, in the poll it says the drop rate when killing the highest level Revenant will be approximately 1 in 9,000. Next up is going to be the Loot Key Scroll, which is going to be very similar to that of the Deadman keys. It's going to be the same system. You can hold up to 5 keys at once, and you can only turn the loot in at a bank or maybe a deposit box by the bank. If you kill another player that has loot keys, you will actually gain their keys up to a maximum of 5. And if you are maxed out, it will give you the most valuable key first. Now the main notable difference between this is you will not see a visual indicator of who has keys. It's going to be completely up to you, and you'll just have to kill them to find out. Last up is the PvP armors. These are the most iconic drops from Revenants, and they're going to be new tier 80 armor, so we will need 80 defense to wear them. Now it's kind of an interesting mechanic how they work. So each piece of equipment will be tradable once you get the drop, so you can sell it if you get it. However, to equip it you need to pay a fee, which will make the equipment untradeable. The fees are as followed. The helm is 500k, the chest is 1 mil, and the legs is 800k to make them tradable. Once they're tradable, they will last for only 1 hour of combat before fully disintegrating, as in you won't get them back. They're gone forever. So obviously you're only going to want to use these for PvP scenarios. Using them on monsters would just be a waste because they just do not last very long. So I'll put all of the equipment on screen, however it's just a slight augment to the best defensive armor that you can wear right now for the most part. If you die to another player while wearing this armor, you will reward the killer with 80% of the fee to make them tradable. So that's like if you kill someone for the chest plate, you will get 800k, but you won't get the armor, etc. Now this is actually a gold sink. Every time a helm is killed you lose 100k out of the game, the chest is 200k out of the game, and the legs are 160k out of the game. It's nice, but it's really not the gold sink we need, I don't think. And that's about it. So a very large change coming to the wilderness and a huge amount of armor that I will probably never wear. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to toss a like, and I will see you in the next video.